Today's video is on drawing histograms. I'm going to take you through an example first and then give you a couple practice ones to try. You'll need some squared paper or graph paper, a ruler, pen, pencil and probably a calculator as well. Okay, so to start off with, we're going to do this example here, which starts off with a table giving information about the speeds in kilometre per hour of 100 cars. So you could just pause the video and copy down this table. Okay, so a histogram is a type of bar chart showing information. It's really good for continuous data when you've got categories like these, which are continuous. And it's good for kind of showing the data in a more a way that kind of shows that the proportions don't skew the outlook of the data. So often you'll get different categories here which have different what we call class widths. So this first class width is 5 because it's between 60 and 65 kilometres per hour, and there were 15 cars that were doing that speed. The next class width is also 5 because it's 65 to 70, and there were 25 cars doing that speed. Then we've got a class width here of 10, so 70 to 80 miles per hour, there were 36 cars, and 80 to 100 miles an hour, there were 24 cars. So often you find that the bigger categories are ones where there's probably would have been less frequency if you continued to do it in 5 kilometre per hour class widths as you went up. So rather than have it all separate, you can have bigger class widths to show that. But in the exam questions, they'll already give you that. Okay, so when you draw a histogram, we are not interested in the frequency, we're interested in the frequency density. And to calculate frequency density, we always need to do the frequency divided by the class width. So that is the kind of key formula that we have to remember. This means that the bars on the bar charts, the area of the bars actually represent frequency rather than it being how high the bar is, which is what we usually look at. If it's frequency, it's all about the area of the bars instead. So sometimes the exam questions give you space to add an extra column on here, but often they don't, and they want you to know that you need to do that. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is add on an extra column, which will be my frequency density column. So I'll just put FD. And then I need to now calculate frequency density for each one. So I'm just going to write down here the class widths that I already talked about. So it's 5, 5, 10 and 20. So that's how wide the intervals are. And then for each one I need to do the frequency divided by class width. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 36 divided by 10 is 3.6. And 24 divided by 20 is 1.2. Now, this would be a calculator question though, so you could always use your calculator if you weren't sure about those. Okay, now often if they ask you to draw a histogram, they'll have a set of axes ready for you, but they won't put the numbers on the y-axis for the frequency density, so you need to figure that out. So for this one, what I'm going to do is for the y-axis, which is the frequency density, I need to make sure I go up to 5. And because I've got these decimals here in multiples of 2, I think I'm going to go up in 0.4s. So that's going to mean that I need about 13 going up here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, and then going across, I need to go for all the speeds, so from 60 to 100. So I think I'll just go across in 2, so 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, so I've just gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 across, and it was 13 up. Okay, so if I go up in 0.4s on this axis, 0.4, 0.8, 1.2. It's kind of like doing your 4 times table, but with the decimals. 1.6, 2, 2.4, 2.8, 3.2, 3.6, 4, 4.4, 4.8, and that will be 5.2 there. Okay. And then across the bottom, the speed starts on 60, just do 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So it's important to label your axes as well. So this is speed, S kilometers per hour, and this axis is frequency density. Okay, so just pause the video there if you need to copy that down. Okay, so now I'm going to draw the histogram, which, like I said, will look a bit like a bar chart, but the bars won't be even sizes because of how different the class widths are. So the first one, we've got between 60 and 65 kilometers per hour is frequency density 3. So 60 to 65 would be this width here, and 3 would be right in between 2.8 and 3. So that is my first bar there. The next one is 65 to 70, and that's frequency density of 5. So it'll be the same size bar, because it's only class width of 5, but it also needs to go up to 5, which will be in between 4.8 and 5.2. Okay. Next one, we've got 70 to 80, so slightly larger bar because it's got a different class width of 10, and it's 3.6 for this one. So 3.6 is here. I need to make sure I go between 70 and 80. Like that. And then the last one is between 80 and 100, and it was 1.2. So 1.2 here. And then 100. And now you've drawn your histogram for that data. And like I said, the area of each bar on a histogram represents the frequency. So for example, just to check, between 80 and 100 miles per hour, there was 24 people. So if I take this bar here, and I find the area, well, the area of a rectangle is base times height. So the base is 20 and the height is 1.2. And if you did 20 times 1.2, you'd get 24. Well, it wasn't people, it was cars. It's 24 cars. There. Okay, so now I'm going to show you 2 questions. And then their answers, so you can pause the video and try them yourself. So here's question 1. This time we've got time in minutes, and we've got a couple more sections. You're on 2, 3, 4, 5, so you have 5 bars on this one. And I've drawn in for you the spare grid here for you to put frequency density in. So just pause there so you can copy that down. And then to help you out on this first one, I've drawn out the axes for you. Okay, so that is what the axes should look like. That'll help you draw your histogram. So just pause there, and then I'm going to show you the answers in a moment. Okay, here are the answers for that first one. So the class widths were 10, 5, 5, 10 and 20, which gave you frequency density of 0.4, 1.6, 4.8, 1.6 and 4. And often in an exam question they'll give you a couple marks for just getting these values correct, so that's good. And then your histogram then should look like this. So remember, the different class widths bars should go with your table, and then you can always check them by finding the area of one of the bars. Okay, one more question to do. So here's the next one. So this time in hours, and I want you to have a go at drawing the chart yourself, so thinking about the axes yourself for this one, and then I'll show you how I drew it in a moment. So pause the video here to give this one a go. Okay, I'll show you my solutions for that one. So for the class widths, we have a half, half, 1 and 2, and then that gives you quite large frequency densities, because if you do 8 divided by a half here, you actually get 16. It's how many halves go into 8. And then 7 divided by a half is 14, 11 divided by 1 is 11, and 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So you might have different axes to me, but as long as you've got those values right, that's fine. Make sure you've labelled your axes, so time in hours, and then this is frequency density. And then said your first 2 bars are only a half wide, this one will be 1 wide, and this one 2 wide. Okay, so that's how you draw histograms.